Hello, everyone, and welcome to Riverside Theater's Backstage Chat, a podcast where we get to talk to some of the talented artisans who work on our stages. Led by producing artistic director Alan D. Cornell and managing director John R. Moses, Riverside Theater is the only professional theater on Florida's Treasure Coast. Today I am thrilled to be speaking with director, choreographer, writer, incredible human, and dear friend DJ Salisbury.
Oscar, it is always good to spend time with you. Always.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
On stage and off stage.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that. I do.
That's great. Along with Alan and John, you have been an important part of Riverside's success. And before we get into the current production you're talking about, I've often told people that Riverside, what it can give its audiences is a unique experience. And the shows that you've directed and musically staged here have given people exactly that, a unique experience. So let me just take a moment to mention some of the incredible performances that you've been involved in here. Ain't Misbehavin', Swingin' on a Star, West Side Story, Les Miserables, Mystery of Edwin Drood, La Cage aux Folles, Man of La Mancha, a couple of productions of Honky Tonk Angels, and the Theater for Young Audiences show that we created here at Riverside called Poodleful, which is based on a local author, Cynthia Bardis's great
such fun.
Pansy book, so we're glad.
That.
And that's not a complete list, it's just a touch. Although I must say, Jersey Boys, our current production that just ended, did surpass West Side Story as the second most popular.
So that's awesome.
West Side sort of went down a notch, but that's great.
Well, that sounds like it means the audience is growing.
Absolutely.
Which is great.
Which is fabulous.
For everybody.
Which is fabulous. So you're here directing, choreographing Kinky Boots, which is part of our 23-24 season, and it plays Riverside from February 20th through March 17th, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, nice long run.
And when Alan first mentioned the show lineup last spring, people were so excited to have Kinky Boots. For those who might not know what Kinky Boots is about, can you give us a little description of the show, a little premise?
3 or 4 sentence version. So it centers on 2 characters. One is Charlie. He has reluctantly inherited a men's shoe factory in North England. Reluctantly because he has his eyes set on being something else rather than falling into the family business. But when his father passes away, he inherits the factory. The factory is failing. He learns that when he inherits it. Then the other character is Lola, a drag performer in London. By chance, they run into one another when Charlie is trying to find a way to make this factory survive. They run into each other, and Charlie learns from Lola that the shoes Lola wears as a drag performer don't stand up to her weight. And Charlie says, well, I have a factory. Maybe we can manufacture something. We can manufacture something that will work for you. So that's how they start a relationship about designing kinky boots, shoes that will stand up to the weight of men who choose to wear high heels. Of course, in the process of making these shoes, in this factory in Northern England, there's a little bit of butting of heads and conflict because it's 2 different worlds bumping up against one another, 2 different perspectives, I should say, bumping up against one another. But inevitably, they find their way through, and both Charlie and Lola find new inroads to their own self-acceptance and empowerment. They both learn things about themselves that take them forward into new places in their life. It's beautiful that both those characters have a beautiful arc from one point to another point.
There's so many beautiful themes in this show. It's not only accepting and it's being empowered of being who you are and finding that person.
Yes.
But it also has a lot of beautiful family dynamics. You know, Charlie and his dad and Lola and her dad.
Yeah.
But you also have to think that Lauren, in essence, is the parent of the workers.
Yeah.
So
in a
she's
certain
like
sense,
the family head of the workers. So she's working with Charlie and Lola to
yes.
make sure that everybody.
looking for accord.
Yes.
Looking for accord. Because there's a lot of discord when Lola shows up in this North England factory. It's really beautiful to see people decide to let go of their assumptions, to work together to make something that wouldn't have happened if they didn't let go of those differences.
To open their minds to realize
exactly.
that we all share so much more than...
Yes, we're humans first. That's what I say all the time. We're humans before we're anything else.
What's also interesting about the show is it's based on a true story. This actually happened.
Isn't that fun?
In Northampton, England. It's W.J. Brooks was the original shoe factory company that opened in 1898.
Amazing, isn't that
And fifth generation son Steve Pateman sort of was the one who created this line
to make sure the factory didn't close.
Correct.
Right? Yes,
correct.
exactly.
Because changes.
People didn't want the style of shoes they were making anymore. Yeah.
So it's amazing, and to have that true story, which was documented on a BBC documentary show,
right,
then be the inspiration for the 2005 movie, which in turn was the inspiration for the musical.
Yes.
Created by the incomparable Cyndi Lauper, Harvey Fierstein.
And Harvey, yes.
Amazing.
Really great team. I think they really tapped. Whoever decided this movie and story should be made into a musical, they found exactly the right people to write it and direct. Jerry Mitchell did a great job directing and choreographing.
And what's special also for Cyndi, I mean, we all know her from her pop greatness, but all of these songs are original. They're new. It's not
written for this show. Yes.
Written for this show.
Right.
It's not a collection of her past hits.
No.
So the ability that she had to turn her pop world into a theater show world is quite
They
amazing.
took a risk. In a certain way, the producers, and they took a risk, and she lived up to the expectations. So she's such a good songwriter that she really delivers, and it's got a lot of emotional impact and so much fun, as you would guess from Cyndi Lauper music. There's a lot of fun.
I was watching an interview that Kevin Quillinan, who does our theater education classes, and he showed a clip of it yesterday at our first Kinky Boots class.
Yes.
Cyndi and Harvey talking about her putting the show together and the music that she was creating. And the first song that she wrote was the opening song, which Harvey was saying it's the most difficult song that you could possibly do.
It is the most difficult song in musicals.
Because you have to tell everyone in the audience what's going on, who these people are, and be clear about it.
Yeah, so you're setting the context for the whole show, and so often opening numbers are the last things written, because once you know your way through the story, then you want to write that opening numbers to make sure you encapsulate where we're headed. So that she wrote it first is miraculous. That's very rare.
So I've told people I've never seen a production. I do know the music. I've never seen a production, so I'm very excited to see it and to see all these wonderful elements that you'll be bringing to it.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the cast, the supporting team that you have in creating the show.
Well, but first and foremost, I said the other day, my right hand and left kickball change is Shane Hall. He's my associate choreographer, and he's doing brilliant work. I've given a lot of I've empowered him to work primarily with, but not exclusively with, the Angels. And so Lola's friends from the drag club in London are called the Angels because they come from the Angel Club.
Okay.
So those 6 dancer, actress, singers are marvelous. You will see, they're marvelous. And believe it or not, they are dancing in giant heels throughout the show. So bully for them. And Shane's done an amazing job with them and also with the other choreography. The rest of the cast, we lucked out. You know, we're very fortunate. As you probably heard before, directors say casting is 90% of your job.
Correct.
So if you have cast people that are not only very talented, but that the audience immediately buys as the character, well, that's a lot of the work right there. No, you have to convince an audience that this person is Lola, this person is Charlie. You just go, that's Lola, that's Charlie. And we have Darius Harper as Lola, brilliant, and Josh, what's Josh's last name?
Canfield.
Thank you, Josh Canfield. Josh Canfield as Charlie, who also brilliant. And let me tell you, Cyndi wrote a beautiful score of songs. They're not easy. because they all sit very high in the voice. So Josh, I don't know how he does it. It's very high, and then Lola is just singing throughout the show. So it's a workout.
It's a demanding
It's a workout,
show.
And those two
Physically and
vocally. Lola is asked to dance a lot. It's a difficult show, and we found the right two people. We really did.
And yet, they not only have to sing and dance, they also have to act.
Oh, yes. And we discovered, it's something I knew to be true, in Act 2, there's a long sequence with no song. It becomes more like a play. And it's where the conflict really rises to a head. It peaks in that scene. And it's a lot of maybe 10 to close to 15 minutes of play. And if I didn't have actors, it's beautiful. If I didn't have actors, we can't just lean on their ability to sing or ability to dance. Darius and Josh and everyone in the company, we really hired people that we knew could tell this story. It's not just about high kicks, right? Or high notes. We needed people that could tell the story, and they're marvelous. It's a marvelous company. They love each other.
Beautiful.
That's always good.
And that's
they love
so important.
Other.
I mean, some of these people possibly have worked together, but many of them probably have not.
That's right.
And so it's an immediate family, and you're hoping that the room is full with love and dedication and passion for what will be performed on stage. So I just, on the periphery of being with them, I think you've really developed such a beautiful core family.
They have said that to me, and I'm grateful that they feel that, because that's what you never really know in an audition situation, but you try to sort of see, how will these people work together? How will it gel as a company? And I'm happy to say this company they're thrilled with one another, because they see everyone is dedicated to telling the story. They see it, and that's really beautiful for me as a director to witness that they're so committed to telling the story. Beautiful company.
Well, while I was excited to see the show, now I'm getting more excited for everyone else to come and see the show. Now, outside of Riverside, you've directed shows at Lincoln Center, off-Broadway, all over the country, and even in Colombia.
I did do some work in Colombia.
What's it like to direct and choreograph in Colombia? Do you have to speak Spanish? Do you have an accent?
I don't speak Spanish. I was hoping to get better. I've learned a little bit of Spanish. I was hoping to get better. Can you please? Yes. I was hoping to get better while I was there, but everyone there wanted to speak to me in English in the process.
They want to practice. Absolutely.
They want to practice it in the process. And the company I was working with, Missy Producciones in Bogota, at that time was the only big professional musical theater company in the country, in Colombia.
Amazing.
And Missy passed away recently, but she was revered as the person who really created a musical theater world in that entire nation. Amazing woman, composer herself, composer lyricist. So I had a grand time. We did Annie first. I was hired to do Annie. It was
Anita?
In Spanish. Yes, Anita la huerfanita. Yes. And it was in Spanish. So again, I don't speak Spanish well, but I actually have a better ear than I've been speaking. I understand it better than I can speak it. And so that was not really problematic, because I know the play and I knew what the moments needed to be. And the company was also just beautiful. Really funny. Our Miss Hannigan, genius funny, a well-known actor in Colombia from her TV life.
Wonderful.
And the Annie was superb. Just the most darling girl who was just superb. I'll never forget working with Carlotta.
So it was a
dream.
A dream.
It was a dream, yeah. I went back and then we did a big retrospective of Missy's work as a composer with 60 performers, 500 costumes, a 26-piece orchestra on stage. It was huge.
Amazing.
And really fun. So that was just a big sort of a variety show feel, but it was huge, like a Radio City style Christmas show. It was really fun. And I haven't been back since Missy passed. Unfortunately, I'm very sad. The whole country mourned the loss of Missy. But I hope to come back. I still keep contact with my friends there.
Well, who knows if you will come and fill some little void that her passing created.
Yeah, maybe. I would love to be invited back. There has been change she set up a school. She actually created a school.
Amazing. To
raise performers up to do her work as a writer. How smart is that?
Absolutely
so
amazing.
Smart.
Yes.
But that school has now been taken over by a university. So it's just the structure's all changed. But if they invite me back, I will go.
That's wonderful. Excited for you.
Thank you.
You're so talented. You've also written a couple of musicals, including your new work, which is
Yes.
Whisper Darkly.
Whisper Darkly.
What's that about?
Well, Whisper Darkly, I will just tell you right off the bat, is a play on the term speak easy. Whisper Darkly,
Okay.
speak easy. But it's obscure, but
Sure.
I'm explaining to you that that's where it came from, the title. It is set in a speakeasy in 1928. What I have been enamored of immersive theater in the last several years, 5 years or so. Immersive theater being where you as an audience member have agency. The actors and characters relate to you as if you're there in some respect. And I thought, could a musical that has a beginning, middle, and end work delivered in that way? So I thought, well, how can I do that? Because you can't have people just wandering around or they may miss some of the story. So I thought, well, in a speakeasy with the floor show, they would be seated, drinks could be delivered to their tables. It's not unlike our Drood in the pub.
Which was wonderful.
Fun, right? So
Absolutely,
much fun.
so much fun.
So the patrons of the speakeasy are really there. The audience is really there to the characters. However, we also scrim through, and using the theater term, we scrim through to backstage spaces and learn more about how these characters are connected and the conflict that is about to explode. And when I say explode, that means near the end of the show, there's a police raid, and the audience is scattered into various spaces. And in those various spaces, with some actors in each space with them, they are tasked, the audience is actually tasked with a cooperative puzzle to figure out so they can come back into the main space and help the story
that's
resolve.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So there's a lot of action, but there's also the intrigue of the backstory of all of these people who work at the speakeasy. It's a good piece. And the score is electro swing. So if just to quickly describe electro swing, it's where you would think of like a typical A Tisket Tasket by Ella Fitzgerald, but with a dance beat attached.
Okay.
So the songs sound like they were written in the 20s, but there's what we call electronic dance music, or EDM, as the bed underneath it. So you will be sitting in your seat, and you probably want to you'll feel that thump thump beat. I wanted the audience not to feel like it was old timey, but like we are drawn in as if, okay, we are really in this club having a fun time like you would have felt in 1928. So the music is more contemporary to have us feel like we're here, we're now, we came to party. It's a fun piece.
Well, it's like we were talking about at the beginning. People want a unique experience,
Right.
and you're
That's
giving
what
it
we're
to them.
looking to do.
They're part of the show. They're helping solve a mystery. They're get out of the escape room sort of feel, which is very popular.
Yes.
So what's going on with it now?
What's going on? We are releasing an album in a week and a half.
Wow.
I know, isn't that exciting? And it's a beautiful album with Broadway stars, Claiborne Elder, Brad Oscar, Ali Mousy, who's currently in Kimberly Akimbo, Elena Waters, Kayla Devion, who was one of the Tinas in Broadway's Tina, and Cara Renee Fuller, who was Grisabella on the Tour of Cats, and she was also in Six on Broadway. Just great people. Great people. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Just great people. And we have that album coming up. Our great hope is there's a space in London that is available, and it is a former horse hospital.
Wow.
So it is big and spacious, and we would build the speakeasy within that, essentially a warehouse space. But it's in a very popular area of London, so it has been a theater, in an immersive theater, and we thought, that's where we think this will work, where we can trick out, as they say, this space into exactly what we need for our show, because we really can't play traditional theater spaces.
Sure.
It was never the intention that we would. So that's our great goal. We'll start raising money, looking for producers, investors very soon. And the album is also in service to that, so that people get a sense of what it sounds like, because it's not like anything that's come before. It's just not.
Well, if anyone listening would like to be a producer
Oh, sure.
in this, absolutely.
Come on board.
How can someone get the album?
The information will be on our website, whisperdarkly.com. That is the website, and the information about where to get it. It will be on Spotify and other streaming services, YouTube.
Wonderful.
It'll be very accessible. We do have a label. TBIC Group is our label that's releasing the album. So I don't really know much about the music industry, but
that's wonderful.
The label gets it out there in the biggest way. And we will have all that information on whisperdarkly.com.
Wonderful. Well, much success.
Oh,
with
thank
that.
you. I'm excited about it. It's really fun.
Very
It's a little
exciting.
dark. It's very sexy. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I know that you're a very busy day.
Yeah.
There are a ton of people who are waiting,
they're waiting for me.
you for rehearsal. But getting back to Kinky Boots,
Yes.
is there something that you would like our audiences to feel or leave the theater having experienced?
Well, I will just tell you, I've cried in the room already, as have some of the actors, because it is moving to face, the two lead characters face not living into the expectations of their parents. And I think that's a universal thing that everybody can really identify with, that we put it on ourselves, the expectation that we need to be what they want us to be. But there comes the point when we get to decide we get to be who we choose to be, separate from what we think are the expectations. So that's what I want
to
everybody
be possibly surprised.
to be surprised, yeah.
That the expectation wasn't necessarily.
That's right.
What we thought.
Yeah. And so it's a beautiful evolution, and I think that because of the two disparate worlds that have come together, I hope that too has people say, I can expand my perspective. I can see things differently now based upon, and that's what theater is meant to do. Theater is meant to have us expand our perspectives, and this show is really perfect for that.
Well, if anyone listening has not purchased your tickets, you must purchase your tickets, because it's going to be
great
an
fun.
Incredible show that you're going to have such a great time and feel so much from the characters.
Yeah.
So.
And joy. There's so much joy. There's so much joy in the show.
Joy, fierce dancing, incredible music.
Costumes.
Costumes,
yeah.
I can imagine. Yes.
Wait until you see those
Well, when
boots.
you're talking about the angels who are in their high heels and whatnot,
my
they're
gosh.
doing all these dances.
Wait until you see these boots. They are astounding.
That's great. Well, DJ, thank you so much for taking the time
pleasure,
for us.
Oscar, always.
We are so thrilled that you're back.
Thank you.
You have called us, quote unquote, your artistic home.
Absolutely. It's just the
and
truth.
we hope that it continues forever.
Thank you.
So thank you so much
It's
for
my
your
privilege.
time, and we're excited to have you back.
Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Riverside Theater's Backstage Chat. Until next time, I'm Oscar Sales.